Look, I'm more than fine talking about this topic, but it's just the stigma and the incorrect mindset that so many people have about how to budget your money. Yo, what is going on everyone? Hayden here coming back at you with a brand new video. And in this one, this is something it's not that I didn't want to make it. Not a lot of people are asking, but a good amount of people have asked me, mostly privately over my DMs, just, hey, I'm starting to make some money, $5,000, $10,000 a month. How do you structure your expenses, your savings, your investing, taxes, just everything? And it's something, I'm gonna tell you why I didn't want to necessarily talk about it. It's just because so many people have the wrong mindset moving into it. So now that is my mission to change that with this video. First of all, the word budget that you see is most likely in the title. I hate that word, get rid of it. Budgeting, as you're gonna see as I dive into my computer momentarily, budgeting is for broke people. And I don't just mean broke financially, that's broke minded. You don't necessarily need to budget for certain things. Budgeting, it depends on how you're structuring your mind. I'm trying my best to put this in words. I don't say, all right, I have $6,500 a month for personal expenses because what if I want to do this and then it's out of the budget? But it's an abundance. You need to have that abundance mindset about anything. So I'm not necessarily I don't like to look at my expenses. Now I know and I have a rough idea of what I spend, but I don't look at that. I don't need to, I don't want to. I just look at what comes in. I focus on the progression. That's one of my biggest things is when I get capital, first of all, too, this can be scary to some people. Whenever I get capital, I push it back out. Because for me, I really like to be in, not necessarily the scarcity, it's all about abundance, but where I have a very limited amount of that, where it's like, okay, I just made this amount of money, but it's gone, so now I'm broke again, let me hustle to get it back, and just rinse and repeat. And when I'm pushing that cash flow out, this is something I didn't exactly explain fully in one video. Someone thought that I meant I just spend all my money. I invest, I do it in things that long-term, all right, that doesn't necessarily have to be in something that's gonna make me money every month. That could be in, books, seminars, courses, direct mentorship, learning from people, going and doing yoga, gym membership, literally anything, just self-development stuff. Like, for example, right here in my backpack, a live example, took the moped out to the store today, got a new notebook, blank notebook, it's $1, whatever, constant personal, little things like that. Now I can write down and kind of have a physical map, a game plan, a war map of what I want to do. I can strategize different things, write it down and keep track of that because now it's physical. So obviously that might only be like 50 cents or $1, but you get the point. It doesn't always have to be in some sort of business investment opportunity. I just want to get the capital out there, even if it means, I do like to have liquid cash, but even if it means like paying someone in advance, paying taxes in advance, there's a lot of different things you can do. So I'm gonna jump inside of my computer. I put together a little sheet that we're just gonna kind of fill through, and I'm gonna talk about a couple different points just so I can stay on track, because this would be a video where I would easily go off on a pretty long rant. So I just want you guys to know, this is not something I've ever written out looking at my monthly expenses. The only time I did that was actually, I'll show you, I will actually pull up the spreadsheet of that back in like 2015 or 2016, over 2 years ago. I was 15 years old and I budgeted exactly how much money it would cost me to move to LA. The moving truck cost, the gas for the moving truck, at the current price of gas for how many miles it was from my house to where I wanted to be in Los Angeles, like literally everything. I will show you that and it's timestamped. So that's kind of how I think about money nowadays. Let me just jump inside my computer so I can break this down further, but I just want you guys to have the right structure when it comes to this topic. All right, so now that we're inside of my laptop, this is what I'm gonna talk about a little bit, just with both the monthly income as well as the expenses, how I budget. Please, I don't want to use that word, I hate that word. And it's not necessarily like a diss for anyone, like you have to budget in a certain way. I don't consider it budgeting, I consider it allocating. It's like, where am I putting this money? I'm gonna push it here, I'm gonna put capital there, but it's not necessarily like the same amount every month. So while you might be locked into a lease for your apartment paying $2,000 a month, yeah, you have $2,000 a month for rent, but it's not like, I don't even know how I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna try my best to do this, you guys. This is something that I don't exactly do, but I do have a structure on what I do. So first of all, let me just explain my situation with it. Now that my income is obviously starting to go up, the amount of liquid capital I have is going up, okay? So I try my best to push it out, but where do you push it out? What are you doing, Hayden? What are you investing your money in? What are you putting it in? I'm buying more high level stuff, okay? More stuff on time management, more stuff on like how to manage my day, how to structure things both mentally, physically, and financially, investing into consultants for that and resources. That's something I found valuable. But obviously I do sit on a lot of capital. I always like to have bank accounts plural, multiple. Actually, Bank of America just denied me for another account. I tried. I don't have Bank of America as a bank, but I wanted it, and since I'm overseas, it's red flags. I don't know. I couldn't provide the proper documentation apparently to set up a bank. But I like to have multiple accounts for different things. So one thing, let's start off with this. I don't pay myself as of yet from my business into my personal. So everything I do is just under the main business accounts. Now, I do have a personal card attached under that business. It's still in the same account. So I don't ever use it. I don't. I just do everything out of the business account because pretty much everything I do is a business expense, especially while I'm traveling, which is great. So having that structure, money comes in, right? Let's say $25,000 wire hits. What do I do with it? Nothing. It sits there. And people ask me, okay, you know, how much are you saving every month? Are you putting this? Someone asked me if I'm putting money into retirement. No, not yet. I can get a better ROI on my investment with current marketing strategies and other businesses that I will just probably don't even know about yet, but I know for a fact right now that's not the best. Now it will compound, you know, once you're 65 or whatever, that can be worth, you know, if you put in 20, 30 grand right now, that's a couple $1 million. So I do plan on doing that. Have no idea what I'm doing with that. Right now, my goal is just to get the income up. I'm focused on progression. So when it comes to monthly expenses, I spend an exponential amount more on business expenses than I do for personal. And that's not saying like, you know, everything is a business expense. So I'm saying like, I would consider rent, you know, traveling, getting to a place like this here in Thailand, you know, dirt bikes, going out on activities, food, all of that. Let's just say that's all in the personal category. I spend way more on business stuff, okay? You know, doing all the marketing, investing in new businesses, paying for companies and new startups that aren't making any money, as well as paying for employees and sales reps and trying to automate different things. That's something you have to factor in because that plays a role. So I am spending a lot more money on, you know, business expenses, even though pretty much everything is structured as such. Now, to touch on taxes, I talked to my tax guy. I need a new one, by the way, he sucks. But I'm basically going through right now and I'm gonna be paying 3 times the estimated amount because I know my income is scaling so fast. So on a quarterly basis for both federal as well as state income tax, I'm paying three times that amount, and I'm also gonna be paying in advance because right now I have just too much money. Too much money for what I want. So I wanna get rid of that. I know I'm gonna have to pay it anyways, and I don't have anything, you know, I still have a lot of liquid capital after I'm gonna do this payment for taxes, but it's not like I'm gonna need that. I don't foresee that happening, and honestly, it's not that hard to get capital nowadays, so it wouldn't be the biggest issue. And of course, the G7X battery just died. Let me kind of pivot topics right now. I wanna help you guys out who are, you know, asking me, hey, I'm starting to make some money. How do you budget for this? How do you budget for that? First of all, I never thought about that because when I was making 5,000 and then 10,000 and then 15, 20, 30, and just increasing my income, I didn't think, all right, now I'm gonna spend this much here, I'm gonna increase this budget. I did not care. I was still living the exact same way as I was when I was making $1,000 a month. So me personally, I was not spending more, so that wasn't really an issue or a topic that I had on my mind. I was just solely focused on progression. So that's one thing I want you guys to understand. Now, obviously, if you do have expenses and you wanna maybe travel now, you can definitely budget or make room for that. I really am not a fan of the word budget because it's like a scarcity mindset. You shouldn't have to budget. There's an abundance of money out there for you guys to get. If you guys are even watching this channel, if you're watching this video right now, you're probably an entrepreneur. You probably don't work for someone else. Maybe you do right now, but you're trying to transition out of that. That's great. You just need to understand is there is no shortage of money anywhere. There's literally money everywhere. You just have to go get it. So I don't want you guys to be in that shortage or scarcity mindset because you can get as much of it as you want. Literally as much of it. And there's different stages. You know, there's people making 20,000 a month, you know, driving their little Mercedes and they have a nice apartment and they're content with that. That's fine. But then there's also billionaire playboys on a yacht who just blew up their private jet with an RPG because they really don't give a damn. It's you know, that's just an example, but there's so much money out there and there's just different classifications of wealth. And that's only from a financial standpoint. I know that's what I want this video to talk about, but I really don't have a specific way that I structure my expenses. Everything comes in through one of 2 sources. It's either going into one of my PayPals, any of the PayPal accounts, or it's going into any payment processor or directly to my bank, and any of those payment processors go into my bank automatically. So that's where money's coming in. Some stuff very, very rarely through checks, and the very, very even more occasional cash in hand. So it really depends, but all that's just going into the account, and then I spend some of it. I really am just focused on stacking cash. I don't need to spend a lot of money to do what I do. I invest a lot back into business stuff, but on a personal end of things, On paper for taxes, my personal expenses are probably like very little, like next to nothing, because almost everything's a business write-off. But it's not like I have an exact, like, all right, 2,000 here, 1,000 here, 800 there. But if you need to do that to fit into your budget, then definitely do it. I recommend one of two things, an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Doc. I actually wouldn't use a Google Doc. I would use a Google spreadsheet or an Excel spreadsheet. One of those things, outline like the main categories: rent, food, transportation, entertainment, other, phone bill. Make sure you write everything down. Just know where your money's going. I've done that. Let me actually show you guys. I know I promised that I would show that to you, the old spreadsheet that I made way back in the day. I want to pull this up because that's what I was thinking of when I wasn't making any money. And then it's funny because once you make the money, like people ask me like, at what point did you know you wanted to move out, like that you were safe? I had 6 figures in my bank before I moved out. I was, more than fine. I literally didn't even look at the money end of things. I just booked a flight and I was gone. I booked a flight, I paid $2,000 to ship my car out there and I was gone. So it was like I didn't really have to think about that. And I think that's the position you need to be in. If you want to buy a car, you shouldn't have to budget for it. It shouldn't matter. You want to buy a house, you shouldn't have to pay, this is the mortgage and interest, doesn't matter. Buy it. Be able to buy it cash, whatever. It shouldn't be an issue if you want to do something. And if it is an issue, then really reconsider why you're doing it and maybe don't do it at all. If it makes sense, then do it. Do your thing. I'm not here to judge, but let me pull up this spreadsheet for you guys real quick. All right, so this right here, I don't think it shows anything personal at all anywhere. So great, I'm not gonna have to block anything out. But as you can see right here up on the top, the last edit was on July 22nd, 2016. So about 2 years ago. So this is when I was, just starting to make some money, like a few thousand a month. And I was like, all right, let me see if I can skate by to move out. So that was kind of my thing. I was trying to figure it out. And as you can see, as a 15, maybe 16-year-old, I just turned 16, like really trying to outline all of this. This is pretty in-depth. I haven't actually looked at this in a long time. Rent, food, phone, Wi-Fi, other bills, and phone. Like this is extremely cheap. There's no way you could really hit these. But if you look at it closely, cutting back on basics, sharing with a roommate, and cutting back on expenses, total for the first 3 months. You go down even further, furniture, blah, blah, because you gotta buy some furniture right away. Just hit up IKEA and Craigslist. This was what was running through my mind. I mean, look at this precision right here. This is what I was doing. Minimum needed, miles traveled, and the gas cost for the moving truck. I was gonna get a U-Haul. I don't even know what I was planning at that time. You can't get a U-Haul when you're 16. Come on, Hayden. But, I just kicked the trash can. But yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So really budgeting through things and seeing exactly what I would need. I really don't like to be in this situation. I don't think it's necessary. So that's why I only do things nowadays when I don't have to think about it. Now, does that mean I'm reckless with my money? Hell no. Not even close. I'm actually one of the greatest people with money. Let me show you here. We got a lot of this. Actually, we still have some Indonesian currency. This right here, this is cash money. I have friends who don't keep cash. This is for the current currency. We got cash money in the building. This right here will pay your way. That's not to flex. This is some jet ski time right here. That's what that is to me, and going out on a boat to the island. But cash, I like to have cash around. You should have seen me back in Minnesota and in LA. I would go to the bank literally just to pull out 30 grand, 50 grand. They would have to send a truck and I would have to schedule it a week in advance just so I could have it for 2 days, right? To listen to some music, flip through it, hold it, see it, manifest that, and see what you're actually playing with. That was a principle I took from back in the day in the stock market. Like, holy crap, pull out $20,000 and look at what you're playing with on a daily basis. It's like that visual help. So I saw it, I manifested what I wanted. And when it comes to your guys' expenses, I do know where I spend my money, but it's not like I'm tracking everything to the T. I couldn't tell you, actually my bank statement could tell you how much I'm spending every month, but it's not, I'm not really too anal about that, if that makes sense. So whatever structure works for you, definitely run with it. That also definitely factors into the different personality types. So I have friends who are extremely analytical with everything. They want to know, this is going here, I'm not getting ripped off. Wait a minute, Spotify, literally Spotify, I haven't used it in a long time. I still see it once a month and my email pops up, 11 bucks. I'm not going to go through the trouble to cancel it. I don't even know how. They made it difficult, I don't care. So it's like, I'm not really too analytical with that, because if you're worried about that, then you're not focused. That's taking away your attention from expanding. So that's just kind of my mindset on it. I'm not really worried about that stuff. I'm just focused on growth, and I hope you guys are as well, because that is what has led to a lot of my success so far. I definitely attribute it to that. Now, I hope that answered your guys' frequently asked question when it comes to all that. A lot of people have been asking me, how I'm just structuring my income, where I'm investing, pushing capital. It depends. It's not like every single month a new software comes up or a new app or a new, real estate deal comes up where every single month I'm gonna put 33,000 into this, 8,000, it's not like that. It's never an exact amount. You can go months or even a year without really pushing out any capital. So for me right now, I'm young, I'm starting to make some money. I'm just focused on the growth and the progression, trying to hop on, what's the next big thing, the next trend, stay on top of that, use my money wisely and just grow with that. Because at the end of the day, it's all about multiple streams. That's one thing I know for a fact that I've done well, and I do credit myself on that, is I've diversified in ways that most people aren't even aware of. You're not even aware of everything that I've diversified into because I don't really share a lot of it. It's not really relevant to a lot of what I do, but it's income on a monthly basis, maybe on a weekly basis, maybe it's random stuff, putting stuff away towards the future. There's a lot of different things that I have structured. It's not just, all right, I make money off one Shopify store. All right, I make money because I have one client pay me $5,000 a month. That is not how it's structured. I would not feel comfortable with that structure, but maybe you do. So everybody's different. That's what I want to really get across when it comes to income, expenses, what you want to do in life, your goals, your ambitions, your aspirations. Everybody's different. So just please have the right mindset around this topic when it comes to that. Do not live in scarcity. There is no scarcity of money. Go get what's yours. Nobody deserves to be broke. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I hope the message found you well. If it did, I'd very much so appreciate it if you drop a like down below. And of course, join the family, join the gang by hitting that nice looking subscribe button. And I post every single day on this channel, so I'll be seeing you tomorrow in the next one. Peace.